بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد. To recap what we said last week, we were speaking about the priorities in the da'wah and how we prioritize between the different types of munkar, the different types of ma'roof, and so on. And we said that the highest priority is the tawheed, and the highest priority in forbidding is the shirk. Okay. So to recap a bit more, what maybe I didn't elaborate on before was the aims of the da'wah. So remember, if you understand what the aim of your action is, okay, of commanding good, forbidding the evil, I'll put da'wah here as well. If you understand the aims of what you're doing, it's easier to understand the priorities. Okay, if you're, otherwise, anything you do, you could be sidetracking from the original purpose. For example, if somebody was in business, they need to focus on making the business a success, not to be sidetracked in something which is going to distract them from the business, and they're going to lose all their money and all of their all of their focus and attention and work that they've done to build up the business is going to be lost. The same thing with the da'wah. If you spend all your effort and time and all your time and your whole focus and your attention and your studies in order to carry da'wah, and then along comes one small distraction, and you start to think this is a big important issue when in fact it's not really important, you will end up losing the priorities. So what is the aim of the aim of the da'wah? Aim of the da'wah, why didn't Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala send the messengers? Why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveal the duty of da'wah and commanding good from the evil in the first place? First of all, so that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is worshipped alone. Okay. Okay, for the sake of tawheed. That is the main purpose of the da'wah of commanding good, forbidding the evil. Is so that everybody will worship Allah exclusively, will follow Allah exclusively, will obey Allah exclusively. That they won't worship the idols or the taghut. That they won't obey the taghut. That they won't follow the taghut. They won't seek judgment from the taghut. So if somebody wants to do anything at all that will compromise this main objective of the da'wah, for anything else, they need to question whether or not they've got the priority straight. If that is the number one aim of the da'wah, and then somebody says, let us commit shirk in order for the benefit of the da'wah. What benefit of the da'wah? How can you benefit the da'wah by opposing the main purpose of the da'wah in the first place? For example, some people say we should vote in the elections, in parliamentary elections, in order to ward off the evil of BNP or the munkar of the so-and-so Conservative Party by voting for the lesser of the two evils. So that act of shirk in appointing a leader or legislating instead of Allah is an act of shirk. So you are doing opposite to the objective of the da'wah. How could that possibly ever be for any benefit to your da'wah? How could that possibly be a priority for you to prevent BNP coming to power, or to gain some money or funding for your local masjid or your local school for the sake of so-called da'wah? How can that be priority over having inclusive worship for Allah, having tawheed, when the tawheed was the main purpose of the da'wah in the first place? The second purpose is iqamatul hujjah. Establishing the proof against the people. Okay, I'll mention some evidences on this inshallah. The second purpose of the da'wah is for you to prove and establish that argument, the binding argument against the people, so they have no excuse on the Day of Judgment. Okay? So they have no excuse on the Day of Judgment. That is the second purpose of the da'wah. So that you can tell the people with a clear warning, so they cannot say on the Day of Judgment, nobody told me. Okay? It's for you to make that clear message, al-balaghul mubin. Okay? Is to make al-balaghul mubin, the clear message, the clear answer to the question. The only way to do that is to be upfront and frank and uncompromising, to have ta'tir and tandeed. If you are wishy-washy in your da'wah, if you are compromising and you only tell half the truth while hiding part of the truth or hiding any part of the deen, you will never establish the hujjah. The hujjah is established by making the two paths clear. To say to the people, that is the right path and that is the wrong path. That is the main priority, the main objective of the da'wah. I'm going to put here as well. Okay, by al-balagh al-mubin. Okay, so this is a recap of last week, but also a bit of an extension on it as well, because I didn't give all of these things last time. So I'll give a little bit extra, inshallah. Sometimes it's a question of how much to summarize the topic for the people and how much to give in extra detail. So if we go in a bit more detail today, okay, these are the main aims of the da'wah. Okay. Meaning the clear explanation or the clear message. Okay. Conveying clear the clear message of it. Okay. For example, the Prophet ﷺ did not say to the mushrikeen that you are believers, you are good, okay, and we are good, and we are brothers, and we united. No, he said to them, you are kafirun. قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا الْكَافِرُونَ. Say, you are the kafirun, you are disbelievers. We are the believers. You are on falsehood, we are on haqq. You and what you worship instead of Allah is fuel for the hellfire, while we are in Jannah. Your dead are in hellfire, our dead are in Jannah. Meaning they're absolutely clear to them. Look, if you go on with what you're doing, you're in hellfire. Come on over to what we are doing, because we are doing something better, which is what is correct and is a straight path. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, قَدْ تَبَيَّنَ الرُّشْدُ مِنَ الْغَيِّ. The right path has become completely distinct and distinguished from the wrong path. From the wrong path. Otherwise, if everybody's a believer, how can you distinguish between who deserves Jannah and who deserves hellfire? How can you distinguish? If it's easy like this, where you can believe in all of the kufr and still be a believer, you can commit all the kufr and still be a believer, then what's the difference between the people? What is the difference between Ahl al-Jannah and Ahl al-Nar? The people of Jannah and the people of hellfire. What's the difference between them? Okay? The reason why people deserve Jannah is because they were confronted with the truth and they accepted it. And the reason why people in hellfire, because they were confronted with the truth but they rejected it. That's what makes it, that's called al-iqamatul hujjah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that ayah, sorry, was 256. I'm working backwards a little bit here because that using too many colours. Okay, but I will come back to that point as well, because there's more evidence we can give information for that, inshallah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسِ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. Okay, in Surah 51 verse 56, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, we did not create the jinn or mankind except to worship me, except to worship Allah. So that is the main purpose. Allah created the whole of mankind. The main purpose, Allah created the whole of the creation, the heavens and the earth. Everybody and everything was created in order to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So anything you do which will take away that main purpose, will oppose that main purpose of tawheed, which will allow people to commit shirk in Allah, or to stop worshipping Allah, or to worship other than Allah, that is the number one enemy to the da'wah. No matter how much you think there is some benefit to it, impossible for there to be benefit. There's no way for you to have any goodness in a da'wah which calls people to leave the exclusive worship to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So whenever somebody calls you to take a legislator instead of Allah, to obey the taghut, okay, to vote for the taghut, to give bay'ah or allegiance to the taghut, to fight for the taghut by joining the police or the MI5 or the armies, okay, or making tahakum to the taghut, seeking judgment from them, okay, or to make sujood to the taghut, to worship the taghut, worship the graves or anything else, or for you to refer to the taghut and their claim to know the ghaib, like go to those so-called magicians and fortune tellers. Anybody who does any of those actions for the sake of da'wah, he's misleading you. Okay, it is completely opposite to the purpose of the da'wah. Okay, the purpose of the tabligh. Also, if we mention here, because there are many evidences we can mention, but I want to just focus a little bit, inshallah, on just a few of them in particular. In Surah Surah 16 verse 36. Surah Nahl verse 36. Surah 16 verse 36. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَلَقَدْ بَعَثْنَا فِي كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ رَسُولًا أَنِ اعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَاجْتَنِبُوا الطَّاغُوتَ. We sent to every nation a messenger calling them to worship Allah exclusively and to keep distance from Taghut. And keep distance from the Taghut. So that was the main purpose of all of the Anbiya. The message of all of the Anbiya is to establish that Tawheed in the earth. Another evidence we can mention here as well for Iqamatul Hujjah is Surah Nisa, Surah 4, verse 163 to 165. Okay. Surah 4, verse 163 to 165. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّا أَوْحَيْنَا إِلَيْكَ كَمَا أَوْحَيْنَا إِلَى نُوحٍ وَالنَّبِيِّينَ مِنْ بَعْدِهِ وَأَوْحَيْنَا إِلَى إِبْرَاهِيمَ وَإِسْمَاعِيلَ وَإِسْحَاقَ وَيَعْقُوبَ وَالْأَسْبَاطِ وَعِيسَى وَأَيُّوبَ وَيُونُسَ وَهَارُونَ وَسُلَيْمَانَ وَآتَيْنَا دَاوُودَ زَبُورًا. He said, we verily revealed to you the way we revealed to Nuh and all the prophets after him. Okay, we revealed to Ibrahim and Ismail and Ishaq and Yaqub, to Jacob and the 12 tribes, and to Jesus, Isa, and to Ayyub, to Yunus and Harun and Sulaiman. And we gave Dawood the Zabur, the book of Psalms. وَرُسُلًا قَدْ قَصَصْنَاهُمْ عَلَيْكَ مِنْ قَبْلُ وَرُسُلًا لَمْ نَقْصُصْهُمْ عَلَيْكَ وَكَلَّمَ اللَّهُ مُوسَى تَكْلِيمًا. And he said, and other messengers that some of them we narrated to you their stories, and some of them that we never narrated to you their stories. And Allah spoke to Musa directly. رُسُلًا مُبَشِّرِينَ وَمُنذِرِينَ. Okay, messengers that came with glad tidings and warnings, meaning to make these two camps clear. There's glad tidings of Jannah for those who follow the truth, and warnings of hellfire for those who don't follow the truth. لِأَلَّا يَكُونَ لِلنَّاسِ عَلَى اللَّهِ حُجَّةٌ بَعْدَ الرُّسُلِ وَكَانَ اللَّهُ عَزِيزًا حَكِيمًا. In order for mankind to have no hujjah, no argument or excuse on the Day of Judgment after the messengers came to them. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is almighty and all wise. This ayah is a very serious and important ayah, especially on the topic of da'wah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala informed us that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was not the first Nabi sent to the mankind. He was not the first da'i sent to mankind. And he revealed to Muhammad the same message and the same argument and the same truth as he revealed to all the Anbiya before. And all those Anbiya had particular priorities and particular purpose, and all of them had the purpose of establishing the hujjah. He said لِأَلَّا يَكُونَ لِلنَّاسِ عَلَى اللَّهِ حُجَّةٌ, so that mankind will have no hujjah on the Day of Judgment after the messengers came to them. What's the hujjah? The hujjah, it is an argument, a binding argument that has no rebuttal, has no counter argument. The argument based on divine evidences which you can have no reply to. If somebody will turn around and say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran that the women should cover themselves, so therefore the niqab is fard. And somebody else could rebut and say, yes, but we have so-and-so hadith, so-and-so ayah, the sahabiyat, they used to uncover their face. We have this other ayah, and Ibn Abbas said, except for the face and hand. So you can rebut between them, because it's a matter of ijtihad. They can differ about it. But when there is the clear proof, an argument made, which has no rebuttal whatsoever, has only one interpretation, and one understanding. Like when the Sahaba, they explain to you their understanding, their interpretation, and their consensus about the understanding of the Quran and Sunnah is the hujjah for us. We can't argue with it. We can't say, but I know better than Abu Bakr, I know better than Umar. No. Our argument is not a counter argument. It's not a refutation for the Sahaba. It's a refutation for each other. Is what Imam Abu Hanifa, he said, when I hear anything narrated to me from one of those companions, is over my head and my eyes. But if somebody from the Tabi'een, Ibn Sirin or Tawus or Sha'bi, if he was to say something, I'm a man and he's a man, we can compete. The same way the Anbiya, they came with proofs, with revelation, with miracles, and with the message from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in order to establish that hujjah, that nobody can argue on the Day of Judgment and say, yes, but I had a different interpretation. Yes, but I didn't know. Yes, but nobody told me. So he can have no argument to save himself from the hellfire on the Day of Judgment. And that is what one of the purposes of the da'wah is. So again, when we understand the purposes, we understand the priorities. So we understand the priorities as number one, priority is Tawheed. Okay? Maintaining and preserving Tawheed. Maintaining Tawheed is number one priority. Okay? Whenever somebody mixes their words to confuse what is Tawheed and what is Shirk, they are destroying the da'wah. They are not helping the da'wah. And that can never be permitted for the sake of prioritizing for their own personal benefit or something else. For example, when somebody wants to say in their da'wah, brother, we should say to the kuffar that Islam does not oppose democracy, rather it's a form of shura and a form of consultation. When people they make this mistake, when they say something like this, what they are saying to the kuffar is that your shirk is okay. It's not a problem. You don't need to leave it. In fact, we are going to have as well democracy. When people say to the kuffar that we will vote in your elections of all the lesser of the two evils, what they're saying to the kuffar is, you are mushrik, you're in the hellfire because you vote and you believe in democracy and man-made laws. But I will vote and I will call for man-made laws and I will become MP and I will legislate in parliament as well, but I'm still Muslim. That is the hypocrisy. That is the one Allah Ta'ala says, أَتَأْمُرُونَ بِالْبِرِّ وَتَنْسَوْنَ أَنفُسَكُمْ. You call the people to the good, but you forget about it yourself? Rather, we should have al-balagh al-mubin, the clear message. Say to the kuffar and Muslims alike, no, democracy is shirk, we want nothing to do with it. We wash our hands from it completely. We are free from it. The way we said, it's been said in Surah 60, verse 4. Surah Mumtahana, verse 4. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قَدْ كَانَتْ لَكُمْ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ فِي إِبْرَاهِيمَ وَالَّذِينَ مَعَهُمْ إِذْ قَالُوا لِقَوْمِهِمْ. Okay, the good example for you are Ibrahim and those with him. When they said to their people, إِنَّا بُرَآءُ مِنْكُمْ وَمِمَّا تَعْبُدُونَ مِنْ دُونِ اللَّهِ. We are completely free from you and what you worship instead of Allah. We wash our hands from you. We want nothing to do with you. We don't want to become your MP. We don't want to become your minister. We don't want to join your police. We don't want to have anything to do with your taghut, with your man-made laws, with your false ideas, with your false gods. We want nothing to do with it. You have your way of life and we are this completely separate community, separate ummah, separate nation. We are not part of your nation. We're not part of your society. We're not part of your government. We are not part of your camp. We are a separate camp. إِنَّا بُرَآءُ مِنْكُمْ وَمِمَّا تَعْبُدُونَ مِنْ دُونِ اللَّهِ كَفَرْنَا بِكُمْ. And we just believe in you. Not only are we separate, but yours is kufr and ours is iman. You have the deen of kufr and shirk. We have the deen of iman. That's called lakum dinukum waliya din. Okay? So kafarna bikum. We just believe in you and what you worship instead of Allah. وَبَدَا بَيْنَنَا وَبَيْنَكُمُ الْعَدَاوَةُ وَالْبَغْضَاءُ أَبَدًا. And between us and you has appeared the animosity and hatred forever. حَتَّى تُؤْمِنُوا بِاللَّهِ وَحْدَهُ. Until you worship Allah alone, exclusively. Okay? That is called, there's no clearer hujjah than that. Nobody can say, but did Ibrahim respect the idols? No, of course he didn't respect the idols. He couldn't make it more clear. Nobody can say, but was Ibrahim a law-abiding citizen of the community? No, he had nothing to do with their society. He had nothing to do with them. Nobody could say that Ibrahim a.s. was patriotic, nationalistic, part of that tribalistic community. No. He didn't care what tribe, he didn't care what nation, what language, what color, what race. He cared only about the fact, I worship Allah alone, you worship other than Allah. That's what distinguishes between the people. Okay? So this is the second priority as well. To distinguish the truth and his people from the falsehood and his people. This will help you, inshallah, when we discuss the next foundation anyway, which is maslaha. Okay. So the next priority is for us to make al-wala wal-bara, to have the love and hatred for the sake of Allah, to distinguish ourselves from the non-Muslims, to distinguish Ahl al-Tawheed from Ahl al-Shirk, to distinguish the people of Islam from the people of Kufr. This is why the definition of Islam, what's the definition of Islam? Let me test somebody. What is the definition of Islam? I'll give him an excuse because he's writing. Okay, you got away. Somebody, okay, he's writing as well. Okay, it's good. You see, I don't mind if you're taking notes. Somebody. Okay. Check the mic. Ah, it's been knocked out. Okay, nobody got a definition of Islam? That's quite worrying. Mic back.
To have istislam by tawheed.
Okay, istislamu lillahi tawheedan. Okay, so the first point. Istislamu lillahi tawheedan, to submit to Allah totally with tawheed, exclusivity, only Allah, exclusive submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then?
The Baraa from the shirk.
And there's something in between. وَانْقِيَادُ لَهُ طَاعَةً, and to submit to Him with your body, with obedience. Baraa
from the shirk and his people.
وَالْبَرَاءَةُ مِنَ الشِّرْكِ وَأَهْلِهِ, and to have disassociation from the shirk and his people, which is number 2. Okay, to distinguish yourself completely from the people of shirk. Okay, that is number 2 priority after establishing the tawheed itself. Okay, so after tawheed and al-wala wal-bara, you have the priority of distinguishing yourself, making it absolutely clear who are the people of truth and who are the people of falsehood. What is the deen of rushd and haqq, and what is the deen of jahiliyyah and ghayb. Okay, which one is the straight path, which one is the false path? Because if those 2 paths are not clear, then the people can have an excuse on the day of judgment, and they could say to Allah, I didn't know which one was the truth. Nobody made it clear which one was the truth. The Muslims came to me and they told me that I was on the truth. They told me, that Barack Obama is really good, and they told me that David Cameron was really good. They told me I should vote Labour, so I became Labour Party. Okay, what do you expect them to say? If you say to the kafir, in fact your deen is so good, and you people are so good, you're better than all the Muslims, why is he going to become Muslim and leave what he's on, and then on their judgment and say, oh, well, I didn't know? Why? You're supposed to say to them clearly, what you are doing is wrong because of this, and this, because Allah said. And what those people are doing is haqq, even if you don't like it. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Tawbah verse 33. Surah 9 verse 33. Okay. Just to make Islam apparent and prevail and known, even if people don't like it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, هو الذي أرسل رسوله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله ولو كره المشركون. He said he's the one who sent the messenger with the guidance and the deen of truth, in order for it to prevail, okay, over all other ways of life, even though the mushrikeen hate it. What does that mean? ليظهره على الدين كله. إظهار الدين, to make the deen of Allah prevail, or the deen prevail, means it becomes distinguished and clear in opposition to all others, and it becomes apparent and open, not hidden, and it means it's dominating and victorious over all others. That's called izhar al-deen. That was the purpose Allah sent it. So it can't be that Islam is under the thumb of the kuffar, obeying the law of the kuffar. No. Whenever you say to the people, obey the law of the land, you're calling them to obey the law of the kuffar instead of the law of Allah. Unless the land is ruled by Islam, which is not today. So how can you say obey the law of the land? It makes no sense. The other evidences we can mention here, especially about this point of al-balagh al-mubin, okay? Because it tells you, whatever makes your message clearer is priority over whatever other benefit you might have. Okay, doesn't matter how much money you could earn. People, their da'wah is to say whatever the government wants them to say, so they can make lots of money, and they say, but we can build masjid, akhi, and we can have Jum'ah every Friday. Yeah, and I'm sure they feel very proud that they built those masajid, and I don't blame them. At the end of the day, okay, I don't blame them for feeling proud of the masjid, because masjid is a good thing, And I've seen people sacrificing every week their time just to establish Jum'ah. And obviously this is all they're doing for the sake of Allah, I'm sure, clearly just for the sake of Allah. But what they do in order to fund that masjid and to build that masjid, and in order for them to maintain and protect it from the attack from the disbelievers and the authorities, is to compromise their deen. So now which one is the priority? I keep my Jum'ah, I keep my school, I keep my hospital, I keep my GP, my doctor's surgery, I keep all of my services I've been doing, my funeral service, my graveyard. Or I establish the Tawheed, call people to the Tawheed clearly, and I distinguish the truth from the falsehood, make Izhar al-Deen, even though the Mushrikeen hate it. Which one is more important? Or even some people, they say, look, your da'wah, you're speaking the truth, mashallah. You're doing very good, you're speaking the truth. But, brother, the way you're doing it, you're being so open, so frank. You're making your message so clear to the people that they get upset with you. And they run away from you. Okay? Doing da'wah in this way, okay, will only make them run away from you more, and will make them, and they will not going to become believers and not become Muslim. Rather, we should change the term. Don't say jihad. Instead of jihad, we can say efforts. Efforts in studying in university. Efforts, to make striving in my exams. Striving, when I'm writing books, I write with a heavy pen. I work really hard. Okay. I mean, they want to make jihad it's just effort. It's just effort. I mean, jihad has many meanings. We have all the meanings. It could mean fighting, but it could also mean effort, and it could mean studying and education, and it could mean jihadun nafs and protecting. I mean, they want to present this to the kuffar in a way to hide all of the aspects of jihad and fighting, because jihad originally means what? Means fighting. The disbelievers, to make the word of Allah the highest. Of course, the foreign policy of Islam. Originally, the jihad is not to do with self-defense. People don't like it. People that they want to say to the kuffar, jihad is only when we fight those who fight us. It's only defense. Okay, that's not the case. Rather, the original rules for the Muslim and the kuffar is that we are fighting each other. That the Muslims are conquering them, unless we agree to have covenant with them. That's the original rules. But people don't like to say that to the kuffar. Why not? What's wrong with telling them the truth? You should tell them exactly what the truth is, and if they like it or they don't like it, it's up to them. Okay, that is. You might think that's harsh, but that is the sunnah. And that is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, in Surah 42, verse 48. Okay? Number of these ayat. So Surah 42, verse 48. Let me write all the references on the board first, and then I'll go through them inshallah. Okay, so Surah 42, 48, Surah 5, verse 99, and Surah 29, verse 18. Okay, those three verses, inshallah, I'm going to go through them with you now. Just to remind you, because see, what you notice that I never put in here, the objective of the da'wah is to make somebody Muslim. You might think that was the obvious one, but it's not. It's not our job to make somebody Muslim. That's not our job. That's the job of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? Allah guides whoever He wishes. Our job is to tell them the truth, present to them Islam in the clear message, al-balaghul mubin. After that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will guide or misguide, and by their own actions they will justify their place in the hereafter. Whether in Jannah by believing, or in hellfire by disbelieving. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah 42, verse 48. Okay. فَإِنْ أَعْرَضُوا فَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ عَلَيْهِمْ حَفِيظًا. He said, if they turn away from you, your da'wah, Allah never sent you as a protector. Okay, well, let me put it this way. Allah never sent you as a babysitter. That you have to keep them in one place and force them, okay, to eat their food and become Muslim. To force them to go to bed. That's why Allah didn't send the messenger to be their keeper. To be the one who's going to drag them into Jannah with him. That's not why Allah sent him. He said, فَإِنْ أَعْرَضُوا فَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ عَلَيْهِمْ حَفِيظًا. If they turn away from you, Allah never sent you to them as a protector. إِنْ عَلَيْكَ إِلَّا الْبَلَاغِ. The only duty upon you is the clear message. To to give them the clear message. Al-Balagh al-Mubin, to give that clear conveying, to convey to them the clearly. So وَإِنَّا إِذَا أَذَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ مِنَّا رَحْمَةً فَرِحَ بِهَا وَإِن تُصِبْهُمْ سَيِّئَةٌ بِمَا قَدَّمَتْ أَيْدِيهِمْ فَإِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ كَفُورٌ. Allah Ta'ala says, but if Allah makes some of them taste from the mercy of Allah, they become pleased and happy, and they believe. But if Allah tests them, some of them, okay, because of what their own actions they did, their own sins, you see they become disbelievers and ungrateful. Meaning some people, there's no way for you to control them. No matter what the truth is, no matter what you do, some people will always believe, some people will always disbelieve. You can't. Okay? And when it's easy, many people will believe. And when the truth is so easy to accept, everybody will believe. But when Allah tests you, and when there's difficulty, and there's clear distinction between the truth and falsehood, at that time it becomes difficult for those who are not sincere, those people who are disbelievers or hypocrites, it becomes impossible for them to accept Islam. Rather they run away. The other ayah in Surah 5 verse 99, Surah 5 verse 99, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, مَا عَلَى الرَّسُولِ إِلَّا الْبَلَاغِ وَاللَّهُ يَعْلَمُ مَا تُبْدُونَ وَمَا تَكْتُمُونَ. He said, there is no duty on the messenger except to convey. And Allah knows what you expose and what you hide. You know, Allah knows the truth about who is really Muslim and who is really Kafir. It's not your job. Okay? The job of the messenger, the job of the da'i is to give the clear message, to convey the truth in the clearest way possible. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the other ayah in Surah Ankabut verse 18, Surah 29 verse 18, وَإِن تُكَذِّبُوا فَقَدْ كَذَّبَ أُمَمٌ مِّن قَبْلِكُمْ وَمَا عَلَى الرَّسُولِ إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ الْمُبِينُ. He said, and this is addressing the people, mankind. He said, if you disbelieve in the message, you're not the first one. Rather, there are many nations before you that disbelieved already. Or you think you've done something, something impressive by becoming atheist? Okay, don't you know the atheists become so arrogant? They really think that they've figured something out. If they feel like, oh no, I figured it all out. All those people for hundreds of thousands of years, they believed in God, but I worked it out. They think they're so arrogant, they're foolish. Allah is saying, well, you think you're the first one? You're the first one to disbelieve? Nobody had that bright idea before? Many people before you, they disbelieved just like you. And look to what happened to them. It's going to happen to you as well. Okay, so many people, so Allah says, if you disbelieve, verily, many nations before you disbelieved as well. But it's not the job of the messenger. The only job, وَمَا عَلَى الرَّسُولِ إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ الْمُبِينُ. There is no duty on the messenger except to give the clear message, to convey the message clearly. That's called al-tabligh, al-balagh. It is to convey. And what did the Prophet ﷺ say? He said, بَلِّغُوا عَنِّي وَلَوْ آيَةً. Convey on behalf of me, even one verse. Meaning our da'wah is only a continuation of the Nabi Muhammad ﷺ's da'wah. We are continuing his mission. We are fulfilling his mission after him as his ummah, because he's passed away. His mission was to convey the message to the whole of mankind. That's why in the final khutbah, and in many places in fact, but in the final khutbah he used to say, made dua to Allah, put hands on the sky. Okay, after he addressed the Sahaba and he told them, let those who are here tell those who are absent. Convey on behalf of me even one verse. And it could be you have the knowledge but you are not faqih, you are not scholar. You have the ilm but you're not alim. You have the fiqh but you're not faqih. Okay? رُبَّ حَامِلُ فِقْهٍ وَلَيْسَ فَقِيهٍ وَرُبَّ حَامِلُ فِقْهٍ إِلَى مَنْ أَفْقَهُ مِنْهُ. So it is possible that you carry the knowledge to somebody more knowledgeable than you. Possible you carry the knowledge but you yourself, you are not a scholar. So convey on behalf of me to the others. Then he put his hand to the sky and said to Allah, Allahumma hal ballaght, Allahumma hal ballaght, Allahumma fashhad. He said, oh Allah, did I convey the message? Did I do my job to give the clear message to the people? Oh Allah, testify. Testify that I conveyed the message. So that is what we are trying to do. That is the objective of our da'wah, is to make that clear message to the people. So that everybody can look to you and say, okay, we know what you're about, what you're calling us to. Whether they believe or not is irrelevant. They can say, we know what you're calling to, but I disagree. Fair enough. You go to hellfire, that's not my business. I done my job. Okay? Or they can say, I know what you're calling about and I agree with you. I said, Alhamdulillah. Okay? But it's not my job to trick you into becoming Muslim. It's not my job to distort Islam and to change Islam and to change the message we're giving to the people in order to fool the people into becoming Muslim when they don't really believe in it. And all that will happen is that they're going to become apostates after that. After they realize, well, hang on a minute, nobody told me that I had to worship only one God. Nobody told me I had to give up democracy. Nobody told me I had to give up all of the things that I thought was correct. Then they become apostate again. Because the people, instead to teach them the truth, they taught them the falsehood, packaging it as the truth, making talbis. Okay, so these are the main priorities of the da'wah. And there was one other thing that I can mention here as well. The third one, priority we can say here, okay, is, we can say, to fulfill the Sharia. I.e., for people to do good deeds. According to the Sharia. Okay, for people to do the good deeds according to the Sharia. Okay, so you understand now that we worship only Allah. We understand who is Muslim, who is Kafir. Now what do? But you need to pray. You need to fast. You need to pay zakat. You need to go to Hajj. You need to give sadaqah. You need to do the good deeds. You need to leave lying. You need to stop lying. You need to stop stealing. You need to stop gambling. You stop drinking alcohol. I mean, you need to fulfill the Sharia rules and obey the rules of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? But here, notice what we have here, number 3, is the third priority over the first two. If you want to prioritize, we can't prioritize this one over the other two. For example, recently we had in the UK something called the GPU, Global Peace and Unity Conference. And I heard many people comment on this event. Okay, I heard many people comment. I heard some people, they wrote articles, and I'm sure with the best intention and with good manner and a good adab, but basically said, look, there's lots of good things in the GPU, and there's lots of bad things in the GPU. Okay? And it said, at least there are some people, they come to this Islamic conference for the first time, this is all they know about Islam, maybe they start practicing, maybe they started doing good, and so on. Okay? And although it's true, there are some big issues and other problems and haram and things in that conference as well. I heard this comment. Other people I heard, they say, no, what's wrong with the GPU? What's wrong with it? Nothing wrong with it, it's good. Other people I heard, they were doing something else. I heard there were some people, may Allah bless them, standing outside the GPU, warning the people not to go in. Okay? And the difference between those people and the others that I heard about was their message was so clear. Everybody who walked by them, they knew exactly what they're saying. Is the GPU haram or halal? Is it good or bad? There was no confusion. Whereas the other people, they would say, yes, there are lots of things haram in there, but maybe I can do some good. And so he gave talk in the middle of GPU. And how can I take you seriously? How do you understand? What is your message? What are you telling us? Are you telling us GPU is haram, so therefore, we shouldn't be doing what we're doing, but you're the one speaking on the platform? Or is your message that GPU is good? It's confusing. On the other hand, the people outside, you couldn't get confused by the message. Why? Because they had a leaflet that said GPU is haram. So obvious, so clear. That's called the prioritizing and the maslahah of the da'wah. Because it's al-balagh al-mubin. Because that makes the message so clear and obvious for everybody. After that, it's up to you whether you accept it or not. I told you. And they listed for them all the things which are haram. Making it clear for them. And what were the things that were haram? Because this is the other issue, see? The things that were haram, they had tawaghit, MPs, mayors, ministers, people coming there to speak and to teach the Muslims their deen, their kufr, their democracy, promoted by the police and the prevent strategy. They had the interfaith dialogue, which is what? Which is the complete opposite of number 2, distinguishing the people of truth from the people of falsehood. The interfaith says we are all the same, we are all equal. Muslims, Jews, Christians, we are all one ummah, one nation, we all believers from the Abrahamic faiths. That's the interfaith dialogue. On the other hand, you have people calling for shirk, for democracy, for secularism, for man-made laws. Okay, you have Tahir Qadiri. Okay, I don't need to say anything else about him. Okay? So you have all of these things, and plus after that as well, you have all the haram things against the Sharia as well. Magic shows, which is as well, could be a form of kufr or shirk, depending on circumstances. As well, they had dating, speed dating, they had fashion shows, free mixing, music. They had all this haram in there as well. Meaning on every single level, that GPU conference failed. But those people who they turn around and said, yes, actually, but maybe if some people go to this conference, maybe they just at least they'll just get their foot in the door and they can start practicing for the first time. You know, maybe there'll be some. So for the sake of doing some, you know, maybe can start doing some good deeds. Number 3. But for the sake of number 3, you're compromising number 1 and 2. You're compromising the Tawheed. You're telling them that we're all the same with the Jews and Christians. That it can never be the priority for the da'wah. Okay, even though we do want the people to obey the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is not just to convince them by any means possible, even by compromising the tawheed and the wala and bara. No way. Because the tawheed and wala and bara, they are the foundation of the deen. They come first. You cannot be Muslim without to establish those two first. Even if you do sins, at least you're Muslim. But if you are worshipping other than Allah, seeking judgment from the tawaghit, from the false gods, from the false courts, you are allying with the disbelievers against Muslims, but then you give sadaqah. Your sadaqah is meaningless. Your sadaqah is meaningless. Okay? Rather, number 1, we establish the tawheed. Number 2, we distinguish the people from the people of truth from the people of falsehood. Number 3, we fulfill the Sharia rules. We want the people to start practicing the deen, and to do the good deeds, and to leave the haram. Okay? So that is the long recap for last week, but also I did extend it, I think, give you some extra stuff, inshallah, I didn't give you last week. So the next foundation, inshallah. If I can find the right document. The next foundation is another big topic. So we're gonna take at least a couple lessons on this one, inshallah. It's called Al-Masalih wal-Mafasid في الأمر بالمعروف والنهي عن المنكر. The benefit and the harm in commanding good. Benefit and harm during commanding good from the evil. And this is a very important topic. And it's also a controversial topic because many people abuse these terms and misunderstand what it means. Okay? Many people don't really know exactly how to outweigh between benefit and harm. Okay? The purpose of studying this topic is because one of the aims of the Sharia is what's called Jalb al-Masalih wa Dar al-Mafasid, is to bring and achieve benefit and to prevent and remove harm. Okay, that is one of the aims of the Sharia. Okay, but what people misunderstand is they get the principle in relation to the benefit and the harm upside down. Okay, the principle in the Sharia is wherever there is Sharia, there is maslahah. Okay, wherever there is Sharia, there is benefits. Okay, guaranteed. Why? Because the Sharia is perfect. Okay, in Surah Ma'idah verse 2, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Al-yawma akmaltu lakum dinakum wa atmamtu alaykum ni'mati wa raditu lakum al-Islam dinan." Today I have completed your deen and perfected for you your religion. Okay, and I've chosen for you Islam as your deen. That means the deen of Islam, okay, we say ad-deenu kamil fi furu'ihi wa usulihi wa fi juz'iyatihi wa fi kulliyatihi. We say that the deen is complete in its roots and its branches, in its parts and its entirety. Okay, this is another principle in the Sharia. Okay, another usul principle is that the deen is complete in its roots and its branches and in its parts and in its entirety. Okay? There's nothing missing from the deen whatsoever. And it is perfect. And the deen is perfect. Okay? That means Allah did not forget any part of Islam. He did not forget to reveal anything. Allah does not forget. There's nothing missing from the Sharia. It doesn't need to be corrected. Doesn't need to be perfected because it's already perfect. Doesn't need anything to be added to it or anything to be taken away from it. It is perfect as it is. And the aims Allah sets for the Sharia have been met. If it hasn't been met, it will never be perfect. Okay? If the Sharia does not achieve the aims that Allah set for it, that means it's not perfect. But it is perfect. So therefore it meets the aims. So if the Sharia aims to bring and achieve benefits and to prevent harm, it achieves benefits and it prevents harm, guaranteed. And there's no way for you to achieve benefits except by obeying the Sharia, because the Sharia has achieved all benefits. Anything that is outside of the Sharia is no way for that to achieve benefits. Because if there was any benefit in it, the Sharia would already have legislated it. And there's no way for you to prevent harm except by fulfilling the Sharia rules. Okay? Anything which is not from the Sharia is harmful, guaranteed. Because there's nothing that is harmful except that the Sharia forbids it and rejects it. Okay? That's how we understand the deen is complete and perfect. So therefore, wherever the Sharia exists, wherever there is Sharia rules, there is benefits and there is prevention of harm. What people misunderstand is that they bring the false principle where they say, wherever there is maslahah, there is Sharia. Okay? It might sound the same. The problem is, they decide what is maslahah first, and then they decide there must be Sharia. So if they decide that it's maslahah for me to have money from the police, it must be Sharia. If they think there's maslahah for me in voting, it must be Sharia. It must be allowed. If there is maslahah for me to take mortgage, it must be Sharia rules. Must be allowed. This is the problem when somebody has the wrong way around, the principle the wrong way around. So they say, wherever there is maslahah, benefit, there is Sharia. So they decide what the Sharia says according to where their pocket is and where their rational benefit is. Whereas what we say is, no, fulfill the Sharia rules, you will achieve benefit, guaranteed. If you disobey the Sharia rules, you will never have benefit, you will have harm, guaranteed. Okay, this is what we understand. So the only place, okay, so if I, let me explain that as well in one little summary, inshallah. The maslahah and the mafasid are 2 types, or 3 types, rather. Okay, we say 2 types, the third one is kind of disputed. Okay, but let's, for argument's sake, we will include it. The first one, al-masalih wal-mafasid. Okay, I just put one of them, but this is the same. Okay, masalih mu'tabara. Okay, masalih mu'tabara. This is the recognized benefit. Okay, in other words, whatever Allah ordered, okay, all ma'roof. Okay, i.e. all obedience. To the Sharia. That's called masalih mu'tabara, the recognized benefit. Okay? Whatever the Sharia accepts as benefits, it is benefit. Whatever the Sharia orders you to, it is benefit. Whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has provided for you as rizq, it is benefit. Because whatever He provided for you halal and tayyib, it is benefit. Okay? Then you have what's called, let's use the red pen for this one, inshallah. مصالح ملغات. Okay, that is the, what do you say in English? What is the opposite of recognized? Unrecognized. Is there anything more, a bit more aggressive we can use to beat the rejected? That's a good one, yeah. Rejected benefits. Or negated is a good one as well. Negated is more accurate for this word. Okay. Okay. So this is whatever the Sharia, whatever benefit the Sharia, okay, does not recognize. Okay, so we're not talking about now, no longer talking about just the linguistic meaning of maslahah, or benefit, then anything that you can get some good out of. That's not what we're talking about when we speak about masalih in the Sharia. When we talk about benefit and harm in command good, in the evil, in the ahkam, we're not talking about anything that you have some nourishment from, anything you have some goodness from, anything you have some, to make you strong. That's not called benefit, not necessarily. Okay, anything which has recognized maslahah in Islam is maslahah. Anything which is linguistically benefit but is rejected by the Sharia is masalih mulghat. For example, okay, remember the kuffar, the secular people, the way they look at benefit as well is the same way. They say to you, yeah, but the scientists said if you have a glass of wine every night, it will save you from heart disease. You see, so it's beneficial. No, it's not beneficial. Yes, Allah Ta'ala says in the alcohol there is some benefit and some harm, but the harm is greater, so leave it. Meaning that benefit which originally existed is now being negated. It's no longer allowed for you to achieve any benefits that the Sharia has forbidden. Okay? Somebody could say to you, interest, riba, by definition, by linguistic meaning as well, the word interest means benefit. Okay? By definition, but you say interest, that means benefit. Benefit is interest is benefit. That's why the Jews turn around and say, well, and not just the Jews, the Satanic Bank of Britain down the road as well, they say interest is like profits. Is that trade? We're just making profit. It's not interest rate, it's called a profit rate. Exactly the same rate as the HSBC interest rate, but ours is the profit rate. Okay? So you can see how when people they want to look to riba, interest, well of course for them they say, look, if I give you £100 and you give me back £300, that's benefit for me. Clearly it's benefit for me. Okay? If I buy a mortgage and I've got a house to live, a roof over my head, somewhere for my kids to sleep, I have 3 bedrooms instead of 1 bedroom flat, okay, it's benefit for me, they could say. All of that benefit is negated and rejected. It's no longer called maslahah anymore. It used to be called maslahah, but no longer called maslahah. Somebody could say, look, if I eat pork, will my stomach belly be filled or not? Okay? Will I get the energy and the nourishment from it or not? Of course I will. But that maslahah had been negated. Yes?
Sorry, is riba means interest or does it mean usury? I thought it was usury.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing, yeah. Usury is the term they used to use in the past, and obviously it's because it's mentioned, they used to use that term by the Christians as well, because it's illegal in the Sharia of Isa alayhi salam as well. Okay, so then when they started to make it justified for themselves, and all the Christians started to use usury, they called it interest. Okay, and so therefore this one's okay. It's exactly the same. Usury and interest means the same thing. They're synonymous words. Okay, these two words are completely synonymous. Okay, the usury or interest or riba, it means whenever you have any benefits, okay, whenever you have any increased benefit or profit from a loan, okay, from any form of loan, okay, that you provide somebody, if because of that loan you get any extra benefit or profit from that, it's called riba. In any way or shape or form, okay, it's called riba, interest. And as well, the word riba been used for any haram trade transaction is called riba, because the ayah says وَأَحَلَّ اللَّهُ الْبَيْعَ وَحَرَّمَ الرِّبَا, that the trade is halal, Allah made it halal, and is prohibited the riba. Therefore, any halal form of trade is called bay', trade, and any haram form of trade is called riba. Okay, that's why the Sahaba used to refer to many different trade transactions as riba. Okay, but all of that, somebody could argue, but look how big my business is because of riba. Yeah. Look how much good I can do. We're going to be marching or having possession down, reclaim this week inshallah, against alcohol. And in that road we have unfortunately, a whole series of shops and restaurants, all that sell alcohol, all owned by so-called Muslims. And they will argue, but I use the money to pay for the mosque. Look at that big minaret, I paid for that. Okay? They'll say, look at all my cousins and poor people in Bangladesh, I feed all of them because of me. Okay? And there are many people like that. They think because of the good that I can do with the money, that's clear benefit, there's goodness out of it, we can get some good out of it. But all of that benefit, so-called benefit, is negated and rejected by the Sharia. Okay? So we can never look to our da'wah in terms of this type of benefit. We can never say, look, maybe if we just work with prevent strategy, work with the police, okay, for the sake of the da'wah, and we can use that money to fund our masjid and fund our activity with complete leaflets about Kitab al-Tawheed. Okay, and we say, what about Saudi Arabia? You can't call them Taghut, akhi. You can't call them Kafir, apostate regime, akhi. How can you say that? They allow us to print millions of copies of the Quran and millions of copies of Kitab al-Tawheed for Shaykh Muhammad Abdul Wahhab and give them free to everybody. Alhamdulillah, for the sake of the da'wah. Yeah, but you forgot about the priority number one, is Tawheed. You forgot we're supposed to be worshipping only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you're going to allow the Taghut to worship Shaitan and worship himself, and you allow the people to worship him, a man, instead of Allah, for the sake of writing a few books and for printing a few books. So we cannot take the benefit is something which is haram, which is rejected by the Sharia. Okay? Number 3, this is where there's some disputes. Okay, some dispute about whether you can use this term for this one or not. This was called Masalih Mursala. Okay. That refers to benefits not mentioned. Okay, or we say, okay, say, okay, in matters of choice. Okay. This was something which was promoted by Imam Malik ibn Anas, and what he used to basically say is, look, if there are some permissible matters which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not make clear statement ordering us or forbidding us, but we can achieve some of these recognized benefits with those matters, with those things, they say therefore this is called Masalih Mursala, is called the unmentioned benefits. Okay, this is what the Malik explains. Okay, Imam Shafi'i said no, we don't need this section. Because all Masalih Mu'tabar, it's all recognized benefits. He said rather the deen is complete, so there's nothing not being mentioned. And he said, look, if you claim there's something in the Sharia not being mentioned, just ask the ulama if you don't know. Don't try to make up, your own idea of what is unmentioned benefit or not. But in reality, they're saying the same thing anyway. Okay? All Malik did that was different is that he wanted to make a separate category, maybe to explain it to the people a little bit more, whereas Imam Shafi'i disagreed with having the idea of something called mursala, to say that there's something not being mentioned in the Sharia, where it's all been mentioned. Okay? But essentially Imam Malik is saying, in those matters which are mubah, the permissible matters. Okay?
Can you repeat the quote again?
Which one?
You said Malik bin Anas.
Imam Malik, yes.
If some permissible matters not mentioned can gain some benefit.
Yeah, some benefit which is recognized. Okay, so if some of those permissible matters can achieve some of the recognized benefits, then he will say that therefore is permissible. Will say to take similar hukum. For example, okay, to use a microphone and camera and internet and power talk in order to broadcast this lesson, so that more people can hear the lecture instead of just all the people in this room. This is what Imam Malik would class as an unmentioned benefit, because the Sharia doesn't mention, or the Quran Sunnah doesn't mention the microphone, doesn't mention the computer or the camera or the internet. Okay, but it does say that our aim of our da'wah is to make al-balagh al-mubin, and tabligh is for it to reach as many people as possible. So if we can achieve that recognized benefit of reaching as many people as possible, more people, by using the mic, using the camera, using the internet, so therefore this unmentioned permissible matter achieves the greater benefit or the recognized benefit. Okay, that's what Imam Malik would argue. Whereas Imam Shafi'i would say, yes, but all of those things are permissible anyway. Allah Ta'ala provided these things in order for us to benefit from it. He said, وَسَخَّرَ لَكُمُ الشَّمْسَ وَالْقَمَرَ. He made even the sun and the moon is being made available to you to benefit from. And made everything in the heavens and the earth is being made available for you to benefit from. Okay? In halal, in any of these ways. So Imam Shafi'i will make the same point, but from a different angle. Okay? But if we do want to just separate these points, so we're saying that in matters of choice, مَا خَيَّرَ الشَّارِعُ, whatever the legislator has given you choice in, is what's called mubah, what is permissible. Okay, Allah has given you a choice, eat apple or eat orange. Now if the apples are available in the market, alhamdulillah, it's easy, nice, take it. If the only oranges are available are in Scotland, yeah, and you have to travel there, walk there, actually just get the apples, it's enough. The Prophet ﷺ, when he's given a choice between two matters, would always take the easier option. But if something was haram, he'd leave it. He would never accept it. Okay? In the same thing, when we have da'wah, command good from the evil, how do we outweigh the benefit and harm of the da'wah? We means in matters where we have a matter of choice. Okay? There is benefit in using microphone and using camera and using internet in order to reach more people easily. Okay? There are some people who can't travel all the way here to attend the lecture. Some people who they may be busy and unable, or they're disabled, or for whatever reason they can't, or they don't even live in London. So how are they going to attend the lecture? So we can achieve benefit of them listening and by watching the video afterwards, if they missed it, by using these technology. Somebody could have a da'wah stall or an event or a conference. So they need to think about what is the most beneficial way for us to have this conference. Okay? Where should we hold the conference? If you hold it in London, in the capital city, where there are millions of people and millions of Muslims, and everybody will hear about it, and all the media will come and the whole world will be talking about it. Or we can have it in Dundee, okay, in a small mosque somewhere where nobody hears about it, and instead of advertising, we don't tell anybody. So in the end, we go there and we're talking to each other. Okay? Obviously, one has more benefit than the other. Both allowed, both permissible. Okay? But one has more benefit than the other. So you want to choose the one which has the maximum benefit. And what is the benefit? Remember our priorities. We want to make al-balagh al-mubin. We want to call for tawheed. We want to distinguish the people of truth from the people of falsehood. We want the people to obey Allah. So whatever achieves our objectives in a better, more beneficial way, according to the Sharia rules, in permissible matters, we will achieve it. Some of the evidences for this is what we're talking about, the styles and means. The styles and means of the da'wah, how to make it most beneficial. The Prophet ﷺ in the Battle of Badr, he camped there in a particular way. Then one of the companions came to the Prophet ﷺ and asked him, this positioning that we've camped, is it a matter of legislation, of order from Allah, or is it a matter we have choice? Okay. So I mean, he wants to know: is it this type of maslaha benefit that you camped us in a particular way because Allah said you have to camp here like this, or is it a matter we have choice? The Prophet said we have choice. So he said if you camp in this way, it'd be better, strategic, because the man of war. Okay, the Sahaba, they were experts. People sometimes ask you, well, how come the Sahaba never had to train for jihad? Because they were already fighters. Because they were already experts in fighting long before. Not because they're pacifists. Not because they don't want to fight and they don't believe in jihad. No, because these people, they were believed in fighting, they were fighting all their life. They knew all about the war. So this Sahabi came to Rasulullah and said, look, if we do it this way strategically, it's better. We can defeat them more. Meaning we can achieve the objective of defeating the Quraysh better and easier if we camp in a different way. So in those styles and means of the jihad, styles and means of the da'wah, where to put the chairs, okay, where to put the table. Do I put the table right at the back so I can't move, okay, or right at the front so nobody can sit? Okay, how do you arrange the affairs? Do you order the leaflets 1 week in advance so you can save £100, or you do it on the last day so you're rushing around like a headless chicken and you spend all your money on the leaflets? All this type of styles and means is permissible no matter. It's allowed to spend £400 on leaflets and allowed to spend £100, but better to spend 100. Okay, so this is the matters where we try to achieve the benefit and remove as much harm as possible. Okay, now what that doesn't mean is take the lesser of the two evils. Okay, the benefit and the harm in the da'wah does not mean we do something evil to prevent something more evil. No. It does not mean that we will leave what the Sharia ordered us to do because of a dunya benefits. Okay? Doesn't mean that. Doesn't mean that we should leave the da'wah of the jihad because we might get hurt. People die in the jihad. That's what happens. People die in the da'wah is what happens. People get imprisoned in the jihad and people get imprisoned in the da'wah. It's nothing new. If it happened to Yusuf alayhi salam, what makes you think you're better? Okay? So it's wrong to think that any da'wah you do which then results in you going to prison or being arrested or being harmed by the kuffar, that is somehow harmful. That is not harmful. Why? Because we have as well al-mafasid mu'tabara, the recognized harm, the rejected harm as well we have. Okay? And maybe you could even argue unmentioned harm. The idea, because people they say to you, if you do da'wah, you do certain demonstrations, okay? And let me give some real life examples, okay? Because some real life examples here I think will help us to understand as well the rationale behind certain da'wah activities people do, okay? Because a lot of people criticize them. Okay, so let's be frank about it, inshallah. A while ago we heard about some protests where some Muslims, they came out in front of the British Army who were parading the streets of Luton. And another one in Barking as well. Okay? Have we heard about this? And in those demonstrations, those Muslims were calling them murderers, terrorists, baby killers, and so on. They didn't do anything haram. They didn't do anything evil. They didn't swear at them. Okay? They didn't insult their parents, mothers and fathers. No. They exposed their crimes as soldiers. In doing so, they promoted the Tawheed, the fact that only Allah deserves to be worshipped, and they were chanting La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. And they distinguished between the people of truth and the people of falsehood, making it absolutely clear, we are the Muslims in the Muslim camp, and those kuffar in the kuffar camp. Okay? So they achieved definitely some benefit there. As a result, some of them were arrested, some of them faced a trial, some of them faced some fines or some penalties, something like this as well. Okay, all of this happened as a result of those demonstrations. Now, some people claimed that those people brought about harm on themselves and the community. I don't know what they see, the harm, okay, but they say they brought about harm. And maybe they argue that because they get arrested, then that is bringing about harm. Okay? Okay, so we need to look at this. On the one hand, we can see that there are many clear benefits recognized by the Sharia in what they did. On the other hand, the harm of what they did, let's have a look, was there any harm? The harm of the kuffar attacking you or imprisoning you or punishing you is rejected. It's a negated form of harm because the Sharia does not recognize it. The proof for that is in every single Nabi that came to their people, they were attacked by the people as well. They were arrested. They were beaten. Some of them were tortured. Some of them were killed. Some of them were beheaded. Some of them imprisoned. Some of them thrown out of their lands. Some of them, okay, they were insulted. Some of them were disbelieved. All of them, they faced this aggressive response from the disbelievers. Meaning that is from the sunnah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when that happens, Allah ta'ala did not claim that the Anbiya were sinful, rather encouraged the Anbiya to do more. Whenever the Prophet Muhammad faced this type of attack from the disbelievers, Allah will send him another story of the Anbiya, saying to him, don't worry, it happened to the people before you. When the worst types of insult and attack came on Rasulullah, Allah Ta'ala revealed the verse, فَاسْتَعْ بِمَا تُؤْمَرْ وَأَعْرِضْ عَنِ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. Come out, proclaim openly whatever Allah revealed, and don't bother about the mushrikeen, what they say to you. إِنَّكَ فَإِنَاكَ الْمُسْتَكْتِئِينَ. We are enough to deal with those who insult you. Meaning the response, the fact that they insult you, or even insult Islam, or even attack you and fight you, and torture your companions like Ammar bin Yasir and Bilal al-Habashi, doesn't mean that your da'wah led to harm. Because if that harm was recognized by the Sharia, Allah would have forbade the Anbiya and the Sahaba from the da'wah. Rather, the deen of Allah is complete and is perfect, And whenever we fulfill the Sharia rules, there's never nothing called fitna or harm that to come from that. Rather, the harm is in disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you are silent about the evil and the silent about the oppression, that is called harm. And that will never lead to victory, never lead to benefits. What's the proof for that? There's an ayah in the Quran, Allah Ta'ala said, وَلَا تَرْكَنُوا إِلَى الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا فَتَمَسَّكُمُ النَّارِ. Okay, I'm going to find the reference for you for this.
So, Akhi,
Yep.
well, one of the claims of the people that try to condemn the actions of that march is that, you know, the EDL have risen up because of this and they're causing harm to the Muslims.
Yeah. You know, the Prophet ﷺ, before he called to his message, the people used to call him Al-Amin, trustworthy. After he came out with his message, calling them to La ilaha illallah and to reject all of the idols, there rose a group called the QDL, the Qurayshi Defense League. They came out and they started attacking the Muslims. They kidnapped Ammar bin Yasir and his mother and father. They killed his father and his mother in front of him and they tortured him. They kidnapped Bilal al-Habashi and they put him on the desert sand, the hot sand with a bowl on his chest, and they tortured him just to make him say to worship the idols, praise the idols again, and he refused. They beat even the daughters and they divorced the daughters of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Even damaged the eye of one of the daughters of Rasulullah. Many of the Sahaba were harmed until some of them could not take it anymore. And when they went to Rasulullah about it, the Messenger of Allah did not say to them, because of you the QDL rose. No.
So the Curia.
Okay, I'm saying QDL. I'm saying Qurayshi Defense League. The Quraysh.
What were they actually called?
The Quraysh.
Okay.
The Meccans.
I thought you.
Yeah, no. It's not a real. No, from inshallah. But so when those Muslims came to Rasulullah complaining to them, okay, there's two incidents I want to talk about. One group of Muslims that came to Rasulullah saying it's too much. The attack of these Qurayshi Defense League is too much for us, Ya Rasulullah. The Messenger of Allah did not say to them, okay, give up your da'wah, okay, hide your deen, you don't need to do anything anymore, you've done enough, okay? Rather take a different approach, compromise with them, maybe vote for them, attend Darul Nadwa, praise their idols. Never said that. He said, if you can't hack it here, make hijrah to Abyssinia, leave. Maybe there you can prevail your deen. And they didn't. They left there, they left Mecca and they went to Abyssinia and they prevailed the deen there. Another incident, the Sahaba came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying, look, when will the victory of Allah come? All this attack from the Quraysh, they're attacking us, they're pulling the hijabs, they are going to halal butchers and the KFCs. Akhi, what the EDL is a joke compared to what the Quraysh did. EDL is nothing. The EDL, they are, I don't want to say they're chickens because it's an insult to the chickens. The chickens are muwahideen. Whereas these people, they are afraid of their own shadow. You look to any incident. The only time they ever attack a Muslim, if there's 10 of them and one of the Muslim. And still they run away from the Muslims. Okay? That is nothing compared to what the Sahaba faced. The Sahaba came to Rasulullah complaining about all the hardship and the sacrifice and the attack from the enemy. Saying, when will the victory of Allah come? Why don't you make dua to Allah to give us victory? Allah will respond to your dua. You know what the Prophet ﷺ said? Did he say, we made a mistake? We've been doing our da'wah all wrong. We shouldn't have been so harsh with the disbelievers. No. He said, the people before you in the time of Isa, they used to be cut in half with a saw while they were alive. Some of them used to be skinned alive with metal combs. And they never asked their Nabi what you asked me. They were patient. You see? People, they want to have such easy life. The funny thing is, these stories, these hadith I'm telling you, they're not new. They're not something which is like hidden from the world and nobody knew about them except for you. They know all these hadith. They know the seerah. They read it all. But some people read the Quran and the seerah and the sunnah of Rasulullah like as a history book, as a fairy tale, as like, oh, subhanallah, what they had to face. They don't see it as, that is a sunnah, I need to follow it. They don't see it as, that's my life, I should be living the life like Rasulullah and the companions. I should be facing what they're facing. They don't see it like that. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. For you as the Messenger of Allah is the role model, is an example to follow. The whole point of the Messenger, of the Sunnah, is that you do what he did. The way he did it, for the same reason he did it. And you're going to face what he faced. the Prophet ﷺ, before he even started his da'wah, when he met Warqa ibn Nawfal, who was from the people of the book, okay, he recognized the Nabi as a messenger. And he recognized as well a certain pattern in the lives of all the prophets. And he said to Muhammad ﷺ, he said, I wish I would be young when your people throw you out. Before he even started his da'wah. I mean, he knew the EDL going to rise. Okay? The Prophet ﷺ said, are my people going to throw me out? He said, nobody came with what you came except that their people turned them out. So what do you think? You're going to give da'wah according to the sunnah of Rasulullah, and EDL is not going to rise? There's not going to be BNP and NF and Labour Party and Conservative Party? What are people thinking? They think they want da'wah to be easy. They want da'wah to be like a hobby. You do it without affecting your life. Whereas the Sahaba and the Anbiya, all of them, without exception, they gave da'wah and they had to sacrifice their life. قُلْ إِنَّ الصَّلَاةِ وَنُسُكِ وَمَحْيَايَ وَمَمَاتِ لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ لَا شَرِيكَ لَهُ. We say your salah, your worship and your sacrifice and your life and your death is only for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, without any partners. That is how the da'wah is supposed to be. That's what commanding good, forbidding evil is supposed to be. Think about it, the nature of forbidding evil. When you forbid somebody from doing evil, the one doing the evil doesn't usually like people to tell him he's wrong. They don't usually like it. It's a natural reaction when you forbid somebody from their own crimes that they will react with you badly. And that they will be upset with you. And that you will have to face some kind of sacrifice and some kind of consequences. That's why when Luqman ordered his son, I'm telling you some ayat without giving the references, but Luqman, he ordered his son, command the good and forbid the evil, and have patience, have sabr. All the Mufassirin, when you look to the books of Tafsir, every one of them, Ibn Kathir, Ibn Qurtubi, they said about this ayah, that this is a proof that whenever you command good, forbid the evil, you will face severe consequences that you need to have sabr in. You need to have thabat and stand firm in. Okay? And the ayah that I mentioned before, in Surah Hud, verse 113, Surah 11, verse 113, Allah Ta'ala says, وَلَا تَرَكُنُوا إِلَى الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا فَتَنَسَّكُمُ النَّارِ وَمَا لَكُم مِّن دُونِ اللَّهِ مِنْ أَوْلِيَاءَ ثُمَّ لَا تُنصَرُونَ. He said, do not be silent and relaxed with the people of oppression. Otherwise the hellfire will touch you and you will find no help at all instead of Allah, and you will not be supported. You will not have victory. So Allah Ta'ala declared, being silent about the evil and the oppressor and the taghut has no benefit at all. There will be no benefit at all in that. There's only harm. You think you're saving yourself. You think there's benefit in me biting my tongue against the taghut. But Allah is telling you, no. If you do that, you're not going to have any victory from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're not going to have any benefit. Any of the benefit you think you're going to have, you're not going to get it. And anything you get is rejected, is negated. It's from masalih mulghat. Okay? So we need to understand, this is how we need to understand the benefit and the harm. Okay? So when we outweigh between the benefit and the harm, the benefit, the real benefit, we say ayn al-maslaha, the essence of the benefit is at-ta'ah, ta'atullah. Okay? Is to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whenever you obey Allah, that is benefits. And whenever you disobey Allah, that is harm. Okay? Okay, so I'll give you another example. Demonstrations. Okay? Demonstration, somebody could argue, would fall under this category. Masalih mursal. There's no evidence. There's no evidence to have demonstrations, specifically. Okay? Nothing. No specific evidence to say we need to have demonstrations. Okay? So nobody will say, if you have a demonstration with placards and a megaphone, that is some kind of sunnah and reward. No. But it's only permissible. To have a megaphone is permissible. Have one or don't have it is permissible. Gather together as Muslim is permissible. Have it, do it or don't do it. It's all permissible. I mean, this is permissible styles and means of da'wah, of commanding good, forbidding the evil. That could have some benefit in it, and it could have some harm in it. How do you know if it's benefits? If you fulfill any commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you'll have benefits. If you disobey any of Allah's laws, you have harm. Okay? So, the benefit in demonstration, if you use the demonstration to command good, forbid the evil, for example. That's benefit. It's recognized. Because Allah ordered us to command good, forbid the evil. If you speak the word of truth in front of a tyrant ruler, that's benefit. Because Allah ordered us to do that. If you establish the wala and the baraa You distinguish the Muslims from the disbelievers, and you declare, we are separate from you, we are free from you, and what you worship is from Allah, like Ibrahim alayhi salam. That is benefit, because Allah ordered us to do that. If you show support for the Muslims, that's benefit, because that's a command from Allah Ta'ala. وَإِن تَنْصُرُكُمْ فِي الدِّينِ فَعَلَيْكُمُ النَّصْرُ. So, if you declare the love for Islam and the love for the believers, and you declare the hatred for the kufr and the hatred for the disbelievers, that has benefits. So all of this is maslahah, and recognizing the sharia. Okay? If you have some harm, what is harmful? Any disobedience to Allah is harmful. So some people have demonstrations with nationalistic flag. Okay? For example, you have a demonstration about Palestine, and they put the Palestinian flag. Or one about Iraq, they put the Iraqi flag. That is haram. Because nationalism in Islam is completely prohibited. So that is something which is harmful. That is what's called harmful. Not the fact that the kuffar are angry with you. What do you think the kuffar are going to be? Happy with you? When has the kuffar ever been pleased with the da'i or the nabi or the sahaba? No. So it's going to be angry. Rather, even the anger of the kuffar is maslahah. Because Allah Ta'ala says that He made the sahaba harsh with the disbelievers and merciful with the believers, and put their description. Why? لِيَغِيظُ بِهِمُ الْكُفَّارِ, in order to anger the kuffar. So angering the kuffar is not something harmful, it's something beneficial. Okay, so that's not the issue. Nationalistic flags is harmful. If people go there start swearing, effing, essing, being, a-ing, being, seeing, d'ing, whatever, that's haram, that's harmful. Okay? That is harmful. People start whistling and start playing the drums and start playing the whistle and the trumpet and all these musical instruments. That's harmful. There people start free mixing. Men and women all together mixed up between each other. Yeah, jostling and pushing and shoving. That's not allowed. It's haram. Okay, so that's harmful. Women coming out with their aura exposed. Sometimes even men coming out with their aura exposed. It's completely haram. It's harmful. It's not allowed. Okay, people start to call for kufr. They go to demonstration for the sake of helping Muslims. Release so-and-so Muslim. We want United Nations resolution 1441, 1562, all this business, 786. It's not allowed. That's harmful. Because you're calling now for taghut law. United Nations resolution is taghut, man-made law. Okay? All this human rights, human wrongs is harmful. Instead to call for the law of Allah, you're calling for the law of the kuffar. And you say to the Muslim, what are you calling for Sharia for? SubhanAllah. Call for Sharia in the UK is haram, but to call for the kuffar law is halal. SubhanAllah. The other one, what some people do, is they say what? We want British justice for British citizens. What does that mean? Means, please sir, change the law to allow you to judge my Muslim brother in the UK by the UK Taghut courts, by the man-made law of the UK. That's completely haram. And shirk and kufr. So how can you call for that? And you call that da'wah, call that demonstration. So obviously all of these type of things which are harmful, they are rejected. We can't have some of this. See? And you see how, as well, let me tell you something. Sometimes you see the benefit, okay, and the harm, opposite to what people expect, in the dunya as well, not just in the akhirah. For example, I remember 2003, there was a big march in London. Okay? Some of you may not have even heard about it. There was over 1 million people in the streets of London in that march. All of them condemning and calling for an end to the Iraqi war. Okay? And in that demonstration there were kuffar, there were some socialists calling for communism and socialism, some anarchists calling for anarchism, there were women half naked jumping and dancing in the streets, and there were men blowing trumpets and whistles, and they all had, many of them had whistles in fact, and there were some people as well, banging drums as they're going by, singing songs, okay, and among all of this sea of kuffar, some of them half naked, some of them homosexual, all sorts of different people. In between you had a man with a long beard and a woman with a hijab, okay, and it looked so wrong, it just looked bad, okay. But anyway, they went there with all this 1 million man march. How many of you even, some of you may not even heard about it. I know some of you are young here, may not even remember. Okay? And what was the effect, the impact of this demonstration? Besides the fact that they pat each other on the back, okay? And what did Tony Blair say? He said, see, because we have democracy, that's why you can have this million man march. In Iraq, they couldn't have that. That's why we need to go to war in Iraq. They just use it to justify their wars even more. On the other hand, okay, in 2006, there was a demonstration of about 300 people, maybe 400, okay? And that demonstration shook the whole of the UK and the whole of the world even. And you probably still heard about it. And that was a demonstration against the Danish cartoons. Few people, but who didn't hear about it? Who wasn't talking about it? Who until now they are arguing and debating about it? Was it good? Was it bad? Should they? Shouldn't they? The difference is no free mixing, no aura on display, no music, no kufr message, no socialism, no man-made laws. Just one clear message and call. And no, I don't see any harm in that at all. I only saw benefit. Even though 4 people were arrested, and people say, you see, those 4 people were arrested. Yeah, but those 4 people, why don't you ask them if they thought it was harmful or benefit or not? Why don't you ask them if they thought it was worth it or not? Rather than you deciding for them. Rather, you see how the impact of those few people on the haqq is much greater than 1 million people on batil. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَكَمْ مِنْ فِئَةٍ قَلِيلَةٍ غَلَبَتْ فِئَةٍ كَثِيرَةٍ بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ. So how many times has a small portion of people defeated a much greater portion with the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the victory is always from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, so this is the first part, inshallah. I want to stop here. First part to the foundation of benefit and harm when commanding good from the evil. Now, I had actually covered quite a lot of stuff. I don't know how much of you wrote down. Okay, I saw a lot of empty pages. Maybe it's on the previous page. Okay, alhamdulillah. That's good. Okay. So we will continue because the topic is not finished, inshallah, in terms of benefit and harm. Next week we're going to go further and we'll talk about what is the real maslaha with evidences, so we can define exactly what is considered to be masalih mu'tabara, what is considered to be harm, and then we're going to start to talk about outweighing between them and give some examples, inshallah. We should finish next week on that point as well.
Are you taking questions?
Yes. So questions, inshallah. If there are any questions from the brothers and sisters in the room or in the panel talk, you can ask now, inshallah. What's the question on the screen?
The previous one, something about the fraud.
This one, what does Allah say about people about the faith?
Yeah, that one. Who organised the demonstration in Brooklyn?
Okay, so the first question, what does Allah say about people on the face? That person's not in the room anymore. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that in Surah Ali Imran verse 85, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَن يَبْتَغِي غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا فَلَا يُقْبَلْ مِنْهُ. Okay, that whoever seeks a religion other than Islam will never be accepted from them, and on the day of judgment they will be from the losers. Okay, they will be from the loser people of hellfire. The other question is who organized the procession against alcohol? Is the local community, inshallah, is a collaboration between local Muslims in the Tower Hamlets area and organization under the organization called Al-Iqama, which is you can see the website, inshallah, iqama.co.uk. It's aqaamah.co.uk. And the Sharia project in another area, so another group of Muslims, we're working together, cooperating in the good deed, inshallah, to protest against the alcohol and to warn the Muslims. At the end of the day, it's those adults, so-called Muslim, who are supposed to be the role models, that are selling the alcohol, that are creating this environment, allowing the alcohol to be available for the youth, and the youth to look to them and see it as a joke and say, wait, how can you tell us that alcohol is haram and evil? You're selling it in your restaurants, you're the one selling it in your shops, you're the one pouring for the people in their glass. Okay? People that are phoning up the news channels, the Islam channels, the Bengali channels, asking the question, can I pray Salatul Isha, okay, when I work in the restaurant and the alcohol spills all over my hand? Can I pray the Salah, Salatul Asr without making ghusl first? Why are you working in the restaurant? That should be your question. Question, who told you it's allowed for you to work in the restaurant? Who told you it's allowed to pour the alcohol? The Prophet ﷺ said Allah cursed 10 because of the alcohol. The one who makes it, the one who made it for him, the one who sells it, the one who buys it, the one who has it sold for him, the one who benefits from its price, the one who carries it, the one who carries it for, the one who pours it and serves it, the one who drinks it, all of them are cursed. Not just the one. Okay? So the alcohol is something which is cursed, and we should be the ones setting the example to the people and rejecting all of that, inshallah. The other question on the screen. Am I still on the mic?
Yeah.
Should we allow our children to forbid the munkar, e.g. pulling down Christmas decorations?
So you're pulling them down.
Yes. Yes, why not? It's good tarbiyah, good education for the children. The way we tell the children to pray the salah from the age of 7, we should encourage them. You should command God forbid the evil. Now, of course, that you need to be careful where and what type of Christmas decoration they're putting down, because in a public thing, okay, and obviously you don't want any harm to come to the children, but it's not allowed for you to sort of break into somebody's home, in your neighbour's house, and just go in and pull down their trees and their decorations. It's not, obviously you're not allowed for you to do that. You need to be make sure that it's done in a permissible way. But yes, you can teach them. We must command from the evil, change the munkar by the hand if you have capability, by showing them, look, here's the munkar, why don't we put it down and we do it together. There's nothing wrong with this, inshallah. In regards to hijrah, why do you refuse to make hijrah on the evidence that we have a pact with the kuffar? Is them not attacking the Muslim lands, a breaking of that pact? Okay, there's two questions here. The first one, refusing to make hijrah on the evidence that you have a pact with the kuffar. The issue of covenants or no covenants have absolutely no relevance to making hijrah or not making hijrah. There's absolutely nothing to do with the topic. Okay, hijrah is an act of ibadah and worship we do in particular times, like to make hijrah from Dar al-Kufr to Dar al-Islam, or to make hijrah from a place of sin where the sin is prevalent and you are affected by that sin, to a place where the sins are not committed, so that you can save your deen and protect yourself from temptation. And there's a hijrah from the place of fitna and insecurity to a place of security. And the hijrah from the place of security to the place of jihad, to help and support the jihad. Or the hijrah even to seek knowledge. The hijrah for the sake of dunya benefit as well. All of these things are allowed, sometimes fard, sometimes recommended, sometimes permissible, depending on the circumstances, regardless of whether you have a covenant or not. Having a covenant with kuffar does not make it haram to make hijrah, or less of a duty to make hijrah in those circumstances. There's no relevance, no link between the two whatsoever. The other question is, does the attacking Muslim lands break that pact? Depending on the type of pact you have. For example, the Prophet ﷺ had a treaty of Hudaybiyah, where there was a state, okay, and a government, meaning authority, the Qurayshi leaders on behalf of the Quraysh, they made a treaty with Rasulullah on behalf of Dar al-Islam. Okay, those Muslims living in Mecca were not covered under the covenant of Rasulullah. Okay, because it doesn't work like that. Not like just everybody under one pact. The treaty of Rasulullah was on behalf of the Muslims living in Medina, in Dar al-Islam. And the treaty of the Quraysh on behalf of the Quraysh, the Mecca, and those tribes allied to each of those two states. So therefore, any betrayal from either side, between any of those tribes, against any of those tribes, or any of those people within those states, would be a violation of the covenant. But in fact, the Quraysh, remember, they did torture and attack Muslims outside of Dar al-Islam, and they did not break the treaty of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, like Abu Basir and Abu Jandal. And Abu Basir and Abu Jandal, when they escaped from Mecca, continued to fight the Quraysh, and they did not break the covenant of Rasulullah in Medina. Okay, so this we need to understand the distinction. Today we don't have this type of treaty anyway. There's no such treaty where you have a state with a state where you can say all the Muslims are prohibited to fight against kuffar of a particular country because the Khalifa says so. Because there's no Khalifa. And those people claiming to be Khalifa, whether the apostate regimes, like they are Tawaghit, or there are some people who make ijtihad that they are Khalifa living under the kuffar. All of these khulafa are not really khulafa. So their treaties are not binding upon all other Muslims. It's only binding upon themselves, if even binding at all. Apostate regimes, it's not, no contract they make is valid. They cannot get married, let alone for them to make covenant to make the protection for life and wealth of all Muslims or kuffar. What we have today is asylum in some countries, like the Muslims who made hijrah to Abyssinia, to Najash. That is a covenant individually between those individuals with those Najashis or kings or presidents who protect them on behalf of the people in their state, with the Muslim as an individual. Some people have that type of covenant, some people don't have that covenant. Some people have been betrayed by that government, and so they're no longer protected by that covenant. Some people are in fitna and are running for their lives, so they are not protected, they have no covenant either. Other people are in jihad and they have no covenants. Okay? You could have other types of covenants as well. For example, you could have ceasefire in the battlefield. Okay, even Al-Qaeda, they propose certain ceasefires at certain times, and it's allowed to have temporary ceasefire for a particular purpose between a group of mujahideen and the people whoever they make a pact with. That's not binding upon other mujahideen, it's binding upon them. We could have as well a treaty of the ambassador. So if there's an ambassador, a messenger came, like for example even Osama bin Laden, he accepted a delegation from some of the kuffar and offered them protection and as an asylum. That is a type of covenant. Until they return to their place, they cannot be considered to be, the blood and wealth cannot be considered to be halal. You could have as well the dhimmi, those who are living under the dhimma of the ancestors, they will continue to have the dhimma as long as they did not betray the Muslims. And you could as well have another type of covenant, individual covenants. So if an individual Muslim says to an individual kafir, you are under my protection, come to so-and-so place, that is a binding covenant upon all Muslims, and we must abide by it even though they're not Khalifa. And Mujahideen that abide by these covenants, the only difference of opinion is about whether or not a customary covenant is binding or only explicit ones. Yes?
So a question on that point is, what I think maybe the person who's getting that as well is a thing that I think about a lot myself is, these government people here have openly declared war against Islam.
Yeah.
Not meaning that they're saying, well, this Muslim's different than that Muslim unless the Muslim is a hypocrite or apostate.
Yeah.
But they've openly declared the war of Islam and send their troops into Muslim lands to kill Muslims.
Yeah.
Even though we're in separate lands, does not the fact that they're our Muslim brother.
Okay.
Also, how can we enter a treaty with someone who is an open enemy to Islam and openly declared
In fact, there are many
war?
examples like this in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the question was about, is it possible to enter into a contract with people who are occupying Muslim lands and fighting Muslims elsewhere? And the fact that we're separate, just because we're separate, the fact that we are one Muslim ummah, one brotherhood, doesn't that mean that we should be bound by the same covenants? And if they betray them there, then they were betrayed here, for example. Now, the issue is we need to look from the perspective of the Quran and Sunnah. In fact, there are many examples when exactly that situation happened, where some Muslims were fighting against kuffar while other Muslims continued to have a covenant with them and they were not allowed to betray it. Allah Ta'ala revealed an ayah about this as well. He said about those Muslims living outside of Dar al-Islam, have different reality and wilaya from those Muslims living in Dar al-Islam. And they do not share the covenants with each other. And he said that those who do not make hijrah, you have no wilayah for them at all. But if they ask your support in the deen, فَإِن تَنْصُرُوكُمْ فِي الدِّينِ فَعَلَيْكُمُ النَّصْرُ. If they ask your support in the deen, you must support them. إِلَّا عَلَىٰ قَوْمٍ بَيْنَكُمْ وَبَيْنَكُمْ بَيْنَهُمْ مِيثَاقٌ. Except against the people that between you and them is a covenant. Meaning that covenant still stands and you cannot help those Muslims against those kuffar physically because of the covenant. And that refers as well to, it was revealed about Mecca. People living in Mecca, like Abu Basir and Abu Jandal. Abu Basir, he ran away from Mecca and came to Medina. And he wanted to come in. And the Prophet ﷺ said, I cannot because of my covenant. He said, but they tortured me. Even still, he said he couldn't accept him because the covenant of Hudaybiyah prevented him. Then, when the Quraysh, they took him back, Abu Basir took him back to Mecca. On the way to Mecca, Abu Basir overpowered them and killed them both. And he came back to Medina and he said, look, here's the booty from those people. Rasulullah couldn't accept the money. And even though they've been fighting, he still did not consider the treaty to be broken. Now, and he still couldn't help him as well against the Quraysh. He couldn't fight against the Quraysh. Rasulullah was bound by the covenant. But what he said to him, because it's allowed for you to support the mujahideen verbally, nevertheless, he said, you are a man of war if you have with you some people. So, with that encouragement, Abu Basir went out, he camped outside Mecca, and other people started to join him like Abu Jandal, and they continued to fight and raid the Qurayshi caravans whenever they came by, until the Quraysh became so upset and fed up, they sent a letter to Rasulullah saying, take him part of your covenant, we don't want him anymore. So when Rasulullah ﷺ sent the message to Abu Basir, before he reached him, he passed away. So he never actually returned to Medina at that time. So you can see how there could be fighting between Muslim and Kuffar, and yet other Muslims have covenants. Similarly, even the Battle of Badr. This is an even more explicit example. When the Quraysh captured Hudayfa ibn al-Yaman before the Battle of Badr, they released him on the condition, with the covenant, with the treaty, saying to him, as long as you don't join the army of the Muslims to fight against us in Badr. Because they were on their way to meet the Muslims in Badr. And Hudayfa went and he met Rasulullah and the Sahaba on the way to Badr. And he said to them, I wish that I could fight with you, but I am bound by this covenant. Rasulullah said, fulfill your covenant and we will fight. Okay, so Hudayfa was bound by the covenant, even though the same Quraysh that gave him the covenant were coming to meet the Sahaba to fight in battle in Badr. Okay, even in the battlefield you can have covenants, because you can have covenants sometimes with individuals as well, with soldiers who've been fighting you, but now they surrender, so you can have covenants. Okay, so all of this example means when you have different people under different authorities or different realities, you can have a situation where somebody does enter into a covenant while the others are still fighting. In fact, nobody actually differs about this point. What people they differ is what type of covenant is valid. Because people including people like Shaykh Ayman al-Zawahiri and others who believe the customary covenant is not valid, they do agree that if you have an explicit covenant with those disbelievers, that is binding upon you. Like, for example, a clear, explicit asylum application is binding. Or if you have for example, if the Mujahideen was to send a delegate as an ambassador to meet the enemy, that is a covenant. It's binding upon the Muslim as much as it is on the kuffar. He cannot betray them while he's there as an ambassador until he returns, and so then he goes back to the original situation. Okay, so this type of covenant is still binding even though there are other wars, and nobody differed about that. What the difference of opinion is among the Mujahideen is some of the ulama of the Mujahideen say customary covenants like visa and like the implicit sayings on the border. Some of them say that is considered to be a covenant based on certain evidences from Umar ibn Khattab and the Sahaba and the hadith of Walid ibn Mughira and others, and Mughira ibn Shu'bah and many other evidences they refer to in relation to that. And in fact, most of the, we looked at the sayings of the Salaf on the topic, all of them used to speak about customary covenant as binding. That's why some of the ulama of the Mujahideen, they say, is binding covenant. Like Shaykh Nasr al-Fahd, like Shaykh Abu Wasir, like Shaykh Abu Muhammad Maqdisi, like Shaykh Ali bin Khudayr. Many of those ulama, they were considered to be binding covenants. Whereas others, like Shaykh Anwar al-Awlaki, like Shaykh Ayman al-Zawahiri and Shaykh Abu Qatada and others, they said no. The only type of covenant that is binding is if it's explicit, clearly written out, that look, I have covenant with you, I will not fight you, you will not fight me for X amount of years or X amount of months. Unless you have that in clear message, official one, like the Hudaybiyah was written clearly or stated clearly, okay, either verbal or written. Unless it's been done clearly, explicitly, they say it's not binding. But if it was done explicitly, they will say it's binding. Okay, so that's where the difference of opinion lies. It's not really on some of the other minor issues that people get confused about.
What's the strongest opinion?
The strongest opinion is that the customary covenants are binding. In fact, Shaykh Umar used to follow the opinion that they're not, until he came across many of the evidences that the others refer to, and they're very strong. For example, Umar al-Khattab, he used to say to the Sahaba that if you indicate to the kafir, even by mistake, okay, that they will have security, or even if you said to them in Arabic or in a different language or any other language, come here so I can kill you. Okay, he says, come here so I can kill you. But the kafir thought you meant, okay, because he didn't speak your language, he thought you meant, come here and you'll be secure and be safe, you'll have covenant. Okay, I mean, he's been given the impression that's the case, by mistake. He said if he then drops his weapon and comes to you, he's not allowed for you to kill him, because that is considered to be customary covenant, binding covenant, because as far as he's concerned, you gave him the impression that you're going to protect him or give him security. So that customary implicit message is a binding covenant, because we don't make ghadr, we don't betray. Okay, we fight face to face clearly. You know we're at war, I know we're at war, so we're fighting. If that changes and you think we're at peace, we will not fight you until we go back to the original position, until we make it clear to you again that hang on, no, when there's no covenant, we go back to where we started. Okay, so this is where the many evidence. Obviously, besides this, there are many other evidences as well.
So
Yes.
there is examples of Sahabas deceiving people from the Quraysh in order to kill them.
Yeah.
And it wasn't stated that as well. They came to them as friends.
Okay, there's a couple of things here. We talk about examples like Ka'b bin Ashraf, who was killed by Muhammad bin Maslama, example of Khalid bin Sufyan and Abu Rafi'. These were killed by Sahaba, in particular assassination missions, and these were called ikhtiyalat. These are exceptions to the rule in a particular way as well. Because what they used to do, what is the deception that they used? It's not allowed for you to make the deception to say, we have covenant and then I betray your covenant. That's rejected. Nobody said that at all from the Sahaba or the Salaf. What they said was, like Muhammad bin Maslama, he went to Ka'b bin Ashraf pretending to be one of them, claiming, look, we're fed up with the Muslims. I mean, claiming that he's really from the Munafiqeen. And he went to them from this angle, saying, we'll even give you the weapons of the Muslims. Okay? As a deposit for a loan. When he comes from this angle to them, and he accepts him with your betrayal, meaning you go to the border and say, look, I'm going to be your spy. I'm with you. I hate those Muslims. If he accepts you into their lands after that, that is not called covenant that he's given you. What he's given you is, I've accepted the traitor of the Muslims to come so I can help them betray them. Okay. So if he accepts somebody, you're a Muslim, okay, I'll give you security, is binding. If he accepts somebody, oh, you're Jew, okay, you can come in. That's not called covenant. Because the covenant is between a Muslim and a kafir. Not between a kafir and another kafir. Not between a kafir and an apostate. That's not called covenant according to binding covenant in the Sharia we're concerning. Okay? Nor is it between Muslim and Muslim. It has to be one Muslim, one kafir. So if the kafir thinks you're not Muslim, okay, because you convinced them, you deceived them a particular way, okay, then that will not be a binding covenant. Now, is that allowed? It's only allowed with permission for particular operation, from permission from the Khalifa or the Amir al-Jihad. Muhammad bin Maslama, he did not do that without permission, without command. Rather, even when Rasulullah asked, who's going to deal with Ka'b bin Ashraf? He said, you want me to kill him? He said, na'am. So the mission was clear, what he wants him to do. He said, I will need to say to him certain deceptive words. I need permission. Okay? He said, forgive me. He said, he said, give me permission to say certain kalimat, say certain words to deceive him. Rasulullah said, say what you need to say. Okay? And that was the specific operation and the specific circumstances where that can happen. And that is there's no difference of opinion among the ulama of Sunnah wal Jama'ah anyway, that this type of operation is allowed. Okay? Especially, remember, Ka'b bin Ashraf, he was, despite the fact that his tribe were under covenant, he was somebody who used to insult Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so therefore he was not protected by any covenant anyway. Okay? He was not protected by the covenant of his people. However, that attack did not break the covenant. Okay? Remember this part as well. That attack on Ka'b bin Ashraf did not break the covenant with the Jews of Banu Qurayza and Banu Qaynuqa, which he was one of the chiefs of those tribes. Okay? The Jews came to Rasulullah complaining that their leader said, that our leader was killed in secret, he was assassinated. They complained to him about that. But their treaty with Rasulullah remained intact, because that was not considered to be a betrayal of a covenant, nor was it a form of breaking a covenant, because Ka'b bin Ashraf had negated his security by insulting Rasulullah, and Muhammad bin Maslama, he entered into his company using the deception of pretending to be kafir or munafiq like them in order to betray the Muslims, and that's how he entered. Okay, so these are the two different aspects to this topic. One does not negate the other, rather one is part. This is what Imam Shafi'i, he has in Kitab al-Umm, he explains both. He says if a Muslim enters Darul Harb with security, it's not allowed for him to betray them in their life or their wealth. And he said Imam Shaybani said, even if he uses fake documents and pretends and deceives them in order to enter, he said he shows them some box which looks like the message from the Khalifa, but it's just is fake. Okay, and they allow him to enter, he said it's binding upon them to abide by that covenant. They cannot betray it, even though it entered by deception. Okay. On the other hand, Imam Shafi'i said, if a Muslim enters Darul Harb dressing in the clothes of the Romans, pretending to be one of them, telling them that he will betray the Muslims, and they accept him, so that is not a covenant, is not binding upon him at all. Okay. So this is how we understand those two, inshallah.